Hello bookworms, and welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, my name is Stacy. Now today's video is going to be 25 bookish facts about myself. I do have them written down here in my notebook, so if you see me looking down, that's why. I'm just trying to, you know what I'm trying to do. First one is going to be shocking, I'm sure. But I have never read any of the Harry Potter books. Believe it or not, I did own, I think it was like maybe the first 3 or 4. But yeah, I owned them when they first came out, and silly me, didn't read them, but I did get rid of them. Yeah, so I'm kicking myself now. But if you can see right here, I did repurchase them. And my goal right now is to actually be able to read it this year. I never lend out my books to anyone. With the exception of one person, and that is my mom. She knows I have strict rules on how to take care of them. I did at one point lend out my books all the time until I had one bad experience, and I lent it out to my neighbor, and when I got the book back, it was absolutely destroyed. I mean, it was bent, it had creases. I was pretty much in tears when I saw the condition that this book came back in. So ever since that bad experience, I don't lend my books out. I actually live in a very small town that does not have a bookstore. Do you know how painful that is? If I actually want to go to a bookstore, I have to drive at least 45 minutes. I do have a used bookstore, which I try and take advantage of as often as I can, but still I don't actually have a bookstore in my town. Very rarely do I DNF a book. I own a lot of books, and I was actually going to count every single one of these books so I could tell you here in this video, but silly me, forgot to do that. But I will go and count every single book I have, and I will let you know somewhere in this video actually how many I have. My favorite book is They Cage the Animals at Night. This is probably the only book I have read 3 or 4 times. It's a very heartbreaking story, but it's definitely well told. My favorite place to read is in the bathtub. If I don't absolutely love a book, I do not keep it and I will unhaul it. I consider myself to be a slow reader. I've enjoyed reading all my life, basically since I was a kid. I prefer to own books rather than borrow them, but I do still borrow some books from my library. My goal for this year is to read 85 books. I prefer to read first thing in the morning or right before I go to bed. Reading in the morning is my favorite time for me because I'm usually up 2 or 3 hours before my husband is. So I got a lot of quiet time, but yeah, it's definitely my favorite time to read. I actually try and purchase all the books in a series before I will start reading that very first book. For the most part, I'm usually reading more than 1 book at a time, sometimes 2 or 3. I've enjoyed reading all my life, but I've just started collecting books recently, probably since late last year. I'm guilty of buying a book because it has a pretty cover. I'm more likely to buy a book if I know it's going to be made into a movie. I can read anywhere. In the car, on the plane, out in public, doesn't matter. Where I am, I can read. If you haven't figured this out already, based on some of my other videos, I have a serious addiction to buying books. I have a huge dislike for mass market paper books, so books this size. I will end up replacing this one eventually, but yeah, I hate these small ones. If you were to look at my bookshelf right now, other than this one, I do not have a single book this size. I have a dream of one day having a room in my house that is a library. So basically just every single wall is books and bookshelves, and a couple comfy cozy chairs in there. And yeah, that's my library. That's my dream. I absolutely have no desire to write my own novel. I just want to read them. I am actually intimidated by large books, so any book that is more than 400 pages absolutely scares me, and I'm probably not very likely to read it. And I can use anything as a bookmark. I've used a business card before, I've used a scrap piece of paper, you name it, I've used it. The only thing I will not do is I will not dog-ear my pages. Okay, so those are all the 25 bookish facts about myself. Hopefully there's 25 in there. I should have counted first. There better be 25. Or the title will be something different, 24, 23, I don't know. So anyways, those are the 25 bookish facts about myself. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you'd like to see more from me, please hit that subscribe button. Until next time, happy reading. Bye!